Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we're going to be doing our daily transparency update as usual. And yes, I know that I wasn't able to do a portfolio update yesterday. That's because I woke up yesterday and the power was out, and that lasted for around 12 hours of no power. Then it turned back on for like 30 minutes, and then it went right back out. So at that point, I kind of just gave up on hoping to make a video and decided to go to bed. That would have certainly been a good time to have some Tesla Powerwalls and some solar panels. But if you're new here as well, transparency update just includes me talking about the portfolio's gains or losses for every single stock market day, and then if I make any recent purchases, we like to talk about that as well. Which, full disclosure, I did make some purchases with Tesla stock yesterday. I actually ended up getting a really good price compared to what it's at right now. We'll talk about that a little bit as well, and then of course, as always, we have to discuss Tesla stock and its movements in the market. So as always, if you enjoy the Tesla videos and the transparency, please make sure to smash that like button. But just getting right into this, for the portfolio currently, we are at a value of $259,261.49. And in the normal market hours today, we had a plus 0.97% gain. That is plus $2,503.23. And then in the after hours currently, which are closed, we are at minus 0.58%, which is minus $1,504.58. Tesla's share price itself is currently at $642.59 per share. So we're back up here over that $640 share price number. And I'm starting to wonder, is this going to be a share price that Tesla may remain around until this next surge, or until it starts to incline significantly again? Because it seems like we saw a lot of resistance, especially yesterday as well. As you can see, for the past week, with yesterday being December 22nd, we hit this low point at 11:30 a.m. That was at a share price of $617.79. Then once we hit that point, it started to bounce back upwards. So it seems like there's a little bit of resistance in this price right here in that 617, 618 range. And then we started to see it go up a little bit towards the rest of that day. And then today, as you can see, we got around like a 1% gain in the normal market hours. So I'm wondering, is this $640 number that sweet spot right now, or is it going to continue to go up a little bit more? And in terms of the lowest potential share price that this could go to, like I said, we did see some resistance at that 617, 618 share price number. And with all of this, I'm actually pretty satisfied with this pullback movement so far, because it's actually not as significant as what we saw after Battery Day and all of that stock split hype and things like that, where if we look at the chart here, we saw a huge sell-off after August 31st. We bounced back up here and there, saw some dips, and we kind of remained in this general area right here with this line across until we had S&P 500 inclusion. And of course, this may just be one of those days where we have like a bounce after a pullback, just to kind of readjust the share price a little bit with people buying the dip. That's something that we've seen after August 31st. After this right here, it dips and then bounces back up. It dips, then bounces back up, dips, then bounces back up. It's a common trend that we see with Tesla stock, especially after major events and major news pieces and things like that. But even regardless, if the stock does end up being a red day for tomorrow, like I said, I'm wondering, with that resistance around that $617, $618 share price, will it go under $600? Because so far, it actually seems like there's a lot of resistance happening with that share price right now for Tesla. And it's actually something that reminds me of Apple's share price resistance, which I commonly paid attention to a lot over this past year, because Apple was the first stock that I owned in my Robinhood portfolio, and that was another one of those stocks where it would have certain numbers where there would be a lot of resistance to the point where it wouldn't drop below that, unless it was like with the crash that we saw over this past year. So actually, Tesla stock has performed pretty well in terms of not having a really tremendous dip after all of this excitement and all of this hype and so many people buying in for the short-term trades. So I'm really satisfied with the movement with Tesla so far. Now, of course, I may be a little bit more satisfied because I was able to take advantage of the dip and actually buy it at a pretty solid time. And I also don't have any more cash remaining on the sidelines right now to purchase. So of course, I guess I will be satisfied since I bought one of the lowest points and it hasn't gone under that since then. But even if it goes down a little bit further, I'll still be pretty satisfied with my purchase prices. And just addressing that as well, I did make some purchases with my Roth IRA account, and then also with the Roth IRA account that I transferred over from a previous broker, my first Roth IRA account. So I have two different Roth IRA accounts for Fidelity, one for 2019 and one for 2020. And I actually had some remaining cash, like $140 from the previous brokers that I used. It was actually around like $340, I believe, but I had to pay like a $140 transfer fee, which I think is worth it just because the previous brokerage charges so many fees here and there. They charge annual maintenance fees and things like that. And I may end up calling Fidelity to see if they can actually cover that. But basically, there was some cash left over because the previous brokerage, for some reason, they would not let me purchase fractional shares of Tesla stock with that remaining cash. So I just said, you know what, I'll go ahead and transfer this over to Fidelity, and I used the remaining cash on that. I think I paid a price of like $621, $623, something like that. I just checked on the price that I paid. So for that small purchase for my 2019 Roth IRA account, I made a purchase of Tesla stock for a fractional share, and that was a purchase of $164 worth of Tesla stock at a fractional share of a share price of $622. And if we analyze that $622 in comparison to the rest of the points on the chart for this week, and especially considering this most recent dip on December 22nd, where it goes to its lowest point, that was actually one of the lowest points of the day. This is the lowest point right here, 617.79. So I got really close to that. And even on this 11:40 a.m. marker, that was a little bit above what I paid, which is like 621 something. So I actually got a really good buy-in price on that one. And actually, I think it was in this range right here, not after this dip, because I purchased this one before I made the bigger purchase in my 2020 Roth IRA account. And speaking of that, I actually got a really good deal on this one. I bought at the very bottom of the day at around this 617 marker. To be exact, I spent $618.01 per share, and I spent around $910 at that share price. And like I said, I bought at the exact bottom for that day and for the week. And I'm really hyped about that because sometimes, like I said, I just simply dollar cost average. And this was one of those days where in the previous video, I said on the 21st, I wasn't sure of the share price that I would actually be buying in at when it came to the dip. I just said that I'm going to buy it when I feel that it was right. And this was one of those rare scenarios where instead of me just simply dollar cost averaging, I tried to wait a little bit because I was expecting more of a pullback, and that's exactly what happened. And I ended up buying at the best price of the day. I was basically awake that whole morning. I had stayed up all night long, so I knew I was going to have to make a purchase soon just because I wanted to go to bed. But I bought at the exact bottom of the day and got a really nice deal on that because that $910 I spent at $618 per share is now at $643 almost. So I made a pretty solid purchase on that, and I'll be making a separate video on this as well just to go a little bit more in depth on that purchase and explaining my reasoning for that and what I'm expecting out of Tesla over the next couple of years and in 2021 as well. But just checking out Tesla stock specifically for today, like I said, we started out at 9 a.m. in the red in the pre-market at minus 1% exactly, and then once the 9:30 a.m. time period rolled around, we were at minus 1.40%, and we continued downward until the lowest point of the day, which is at 9:45 a.m. at minus 2.31%, and then after that is when we start to bounce back upwards. We hit this point at 10:15 a.m. at plus 1.16%. We have some volatility here and there, a lot of bounces until this highest point of the day at plus 1.73%, and then that's when it starts to go a little bit downwards. We hit this point at 11:45 a.m. at plus 0.22%, and then pretty much until that 4 p.m. marker, we have a lot of volatility for the rest of the day. Small scale volatility, not huge movements over and under the line, but just a little bit of a bounce here and there up and down until, like I said, we hit this point at 4 p.m. Then it starts to dip back downwards. We hit this point at 4:30, and then it continues downwards even more. So overall, I would consider today a success because not only did we face more resistance with the share price going downwards, but we eventually went back up over that line and went into the positive for today. So any day for me where we start deep in the red, or even if it's just minus 1% or over in the red, and we end up ending the day on a green day, then that's always one that I'm really satisfied with. And especially if we're making more money than we're losing, whether that's in the after hours or the normal market hours, then I'm satisfied with it. I have no complaints whatsoever. And Tesla has kind of beaten my expectations a little bit in the sense that so far we haven't seen a tremendous sell-off. We've seen a little bit here and there, minus 5% some days, minus 4% other days, but we haven't seen anything super crazy like minus 12% or minus 18% or anything like that. And I'm really curious to see where this stock goes in the future because we do have some catalysts coming up, like in January with the Q4 earnings report and the delivery numbers for the vehicles. So even if the stock does continue to go on a little bit of a downturn or a little bit of a pullback, we have those catalysts to potentially make it bounce back up or start to go on an incline once again. And that's just in a scenario if there is a pullback. It's not even guaranteed that there will be a pullback for Tesla stock. But in terms of the short-term prediction for tomorrow, I really have no idea. Usually on Fridays, and I know tomorrow's Thursday, but it's the last market day of the week. Usually on Fridays, I just go into them with my expectations being that it's going to be a red day just because we have a lot of short-term traders and short-term minded individuals that decide to sell off before the weekend just because we have the lack of those 2 market days and a lot can happen over the weekend. So I'm really curious to see what happens with Tesla stock over the next couple of weeks. And as you can see with NASDAQ for today, we are at minus 1.50%. VOO is at plus 0.20%, and a lot of the stock market, including some of the main ones on my list here, except for ARKG, they are all in the red. So Tesla stock has really beaten a lot of the ones on my list today, and even NASDAQ, and it performed better than VOO also. So this is actually one of those days where it kind of goes against the grain a little bit and does the opposite of a lot of the stocks kind of in that area. Also, just to show the rest of the time frames and the movements for the past week, we are currently up 2.50%, which is plus $6,323.42. For the past month, we are currently up plus 20.87%. That is plus $44,769.20. For the past 3 months, we are up 59.97%. That is plus $97,193.12. For the past year, we are up 151.39%. That is plus $156,132.25. And then finally, for the all-time chart, we are at plus 152.57%, which is plus $156,610.11. For today, counting both the normal market hours and the after hours, we are at plus 0.35%, which is plus $998.64. And for the total return for Tesla, we are currently at plus 93.77%, which is plus $138,021.98. I just wanted to do a little bit of a portfolio update as usual, and also have some transparency on my most recent purchase. Like I said, I'll be making a separate video on that as well, just going a little bit more in depth on that purchase, showing all of my receipts and revealing those Roth IRA accounts as well, and talking about some of my justification for that. But as always, please make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video, and definitely feel free to check out my referral links in the description below to Robinhood and Webull. With Robinhood, you can get a free stock for signing up with my referral link, and then with Webull, you can get 2 free stocks for signing up with my link. Those can be valued up to $250, and then you can get another 2 free stocks on top of that, valued up to $1,600 for depositing $100 into your account. And you should be able to take that $100 right back out after you get your free stocks. You may have to wait a little bit for your free stocks to settle, but it's basically nice passive income with minimal effort, and it also helps support the channel, which I really appreciate. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.